What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday, April 12th of 2023, and we're going to kind of be all over the place talking about different types of sports, NBA, play-ins continued yesterday. We'll talk about some of those games here in a moment, but I want to go ahead and, first of all, give a personal shout out to Steve Barber over there at the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast, who just uploaded another episode, #FireVince ? And that's kind of the theme that's kind of been going around the WWE the last few weeks. But he is actually celebrating 30 years of today marks his 30-year anniversary of beginning his 20-year journey and adventure in the United States Air Force. And if you haven't gotten a chance to check out a couple of his Cubicle Chat podcasts the last few weeks, where I sat down with him and I discussed a handful of, questions and kind of just listened to the stories that he shared in his journey, leading up to it. I highly recommend you guys going out, checking it out. And, if you guys are following him on Facebook, on YouTube, on audio platforms, go listen to it. It's Cubicle Chat. It's on all major platforms, audio platforms, and just listen to what he has to say. The comparisons between now and today, and my family isn't rich in the military aspect. I know that my brother is in the Navy. My grandfather was an airplane mechanic. I think there's a couple other related family members that's been in the military throughout the, I think the whole family tree. But, and I think I went to apply once. I didn't make it. Was too banged up. And I was like, couldn't pass the physical test. But I think it's also a moment when you serve, you do your part and you do your part to its full potential. I feel like it's a real big honor and celebration. So as he celebrates his 30th anniversary, he's completed 20 years. It was 10 years ago that he, retired, stepped out of the service. And so, we congratulate to him. Hopefully he has a remarkable celebration. I think he showed some pictures of him celebrating. I don't remember where I saw it at. So congratulations out to him. It's always great to be involved and get to know someone in the local area that has served our country. And he's been a remarkable person, a great friend, ever since we met back in 2021. And hopefully that friendship lasts for a lifetime. But congratulations to him. All right, so what are we talking today on our program? Well, before we get to any of that, got a chance to head on out to... Oh, there we go. All right, got to make sure everything's up to date. There we go. got a chance to head out to the Joe Nuxle Classic yesterday afternoon with the wife. It was kind of like a last minute thing because as I was prepping for yesterday's show, I was reminded of the Joe Nuxle Classic, and I was like, huh. So I text the wife, and she was at work at the time. Do you want to go? She's like, yes, I got to go. And it's kind of like, and I like it because it's kind of like a new, fun, exciting thing that, I know the season, I think, goes until May, but to be able to go out there throughout the week, when she's off and while I'm still dealing with this injury, and just catch a couple of games, support Cincinnati Bearcats. And for some reason, it's like the connection that I feel now in supporting and talking, after being to the stadium a few times with Cincinnati Bearcats and college sports and college baseball kind of just encourages me wanting to get out more. And I'm like, and if you guys never been to a college game, I recommend you guys going. They, like Cincinnati Bearcats, they're like $5 tickets, $2 tickets. They got really good sales going on. I would say that the food and definitely the merchandise is a bit pricey. That's where they kind of make their money, I think. But and they got typical food, but they allow you to bring. I mean, I think they allow you to bring drinks. Right? I mean, they're not too big about you bringing a bag or bringing kids. So it's like, you pack for a couple of kids and you take them out to a ball game, and parking is under $10, which is very convenient. And realistically, you could probably get away with spending about $25 for you plus one, maybe you plus three, if that's the case, and going out to a ball game. And I think it's a fun, exciting time. You have all the kids going out there, excited to go watch the game. You could kind of get a chance to sit anywhere. I mean, there's not a particular, okay, you got to sit. I mean, yeah, there's numbers on the bleachers, but they're not really, hard-headed about where you sit. If you get the general admission. So, good crowd out yesterday. I didn't get to the Xavier and Wright State game that played earlier at UC Cincinnati Stadium, but I got a chance to go to game 2 of the Bearcats and Miami, Ohio last night, and it was a good game. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. So beyond left field is a practice field for, and I've seen soccer, rugby, lacrosse, stuff like that. And then on the right field side, you see the basketball stadium. I believe it's a basketball stadium. I actually haven't really been down there all the way. And then among the horizon of the left field side is the Nipper Stadium. And I stare at that place quite often. I'm like, I want to go now. I want to go to a college football game. And I haven't been to a football game since my father took me years back. So that's probably one thing on my bucket list this year is to head out to a Bearcat football game. But very convenient. About maybe I say about a 20-minute drive from where I'm at, depending on traffic, heading down up north from Kentucky up across the bridge. And like I said, parking's convenient. It's a bit of a walk, and not a bit of a walk, but it's a fun time. And then you can see the other practice fields, track fields, and whatnot. So very exciting, very fun time. We got a chance to see a good game. Home runs were hitting out of the ballpark from both teams. It was a very close game, small scoring game throughout the game. We had Ryan Nicholson, Tommy O'Connor, and Cameron Goudry all hitting long balls to win the game. Ultimately, my Cincinnati comes out top 7-5. It was extra innings, and thanks to Cameron Goudry for the Bearcats hitting that 3-run bomb after Miami goes up 5-4 in the 10th inning. And it was kind of disappointing because we got into the ninth and they were leading. I believe they were leading, 4-1? And then they come back and scoring 3 runs, tie the ball game, and then they go into extra innings. And this is where I'm not familiar with the rules with college all the time. I thought maybe college also implemented the runner on second base in extra innings, and that wasn't the case last night. So a little bit disappointed. I'm like, oh, great, we could be stuck here for hours. But it was a good ball game. Definitely enjoyed ourselves. Joe Knoxville Classic, part of it, and yeah, it was a great time with the wife and getting a chance to go out there. And I think we're already talking about the next couple of games we're trying to get to. Hopefully, if everything works out, next Wednesday against Indiana, which will be an exciting game. And then I'm also trying to get her to go to a Kelly Cup playoffs next Friday night with the Cyclones and the Comets. Puck drops at 3:30. So pretty excited getting a chance to go out to a couple of these games because they're not expensive. And they're very, you're kind of right up on the action. And if I could get her to go out to next Friday's hockey game, and if everything works out, we could go be her first experience at the Heritage Bank Arena. So exciting for that, and all that fun stuff ahead of time. So, but what do we have planned for our show today? We'll cover a little bit of the Joe Knoxville Classic. And give you all the wind up and the scoreboards of what's next for these two Cincinnati teams and Xavier and Cincinnati. We'll talk about the Reds as they head into Game 3 against the Atlanta Braves, trying to avoid a sweep. But although they've lost 2 games already, trying to win this last one before they head home and before they take on the Phillies in a 4-game set that begins tomorrow night, there's still a lot of promising things because my phone was blowing up last night. I get the notifications when the game starts and everything that the Reds do. And you talk about guys like Jake Fraley and Spencer Steer, and they're on top of the game. They're on a different level, right? I mean, these are promising things that we're seeing out of this organization that I feel like, okay, if we're seeing these things early on, what's the next step to get over to actually winning these ball games? Because they're having great performances, but what's happening is that they just can't come across that finish line and finish the ball game. So what's the next steps? Is it only the bullpen or is it something else? So we'll talk a little bit about that. We want to go ahead and give you a NBA update in basketball. And so when we come back from our first break, that's what we will talk about. And then there's a couple more wrestling stories, questions, and thoughts that I feel like we need to address. And one of them is honestly about Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the Bloodline. And it kind of really intrigues me, and I'm excited to kind of share my thoughts and let you guys know what I think about. So we're just getting started here on a Wednesday. I want to go ahead and announce that coming up today, right after the program, there we go. Right after the program, coming up at 3:30, come over and join us as we call the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Angels ball game. It's Game 3 of this 3-game series. It's a getaway day on a Wednesday afternoon. It's an afternoon game in Anaheim. Both teams are 1-1 apiece. So pre-show will begin at 3:30. First pitch at 4:10. So tune over for that. Excited to be calling that game. All right. Well, I want to go ahead and thank everyone for tuning in. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, please be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. press on those notifications. Don't miss a single episode when we go live, and tune in. If you guys are watching us on Facebook or Twitter, we thank you, welcome you. Hit that like button, share it with a friend, and get involved into the conversations. Leave comments by heading on over to our YouTube page and leave a comment down below. That's one way you can find yourself on our program. Okay. So do all that. If you guys are listening to us on audio platforms, thanks to Spreaker, the throw-in is on all audio platforms. Download us, listen to us, take us on the road wherever you go. And without you guys, none of this is possible. So thank you so much. So appreciate all the work and the effort that you guys give back to us to make this possible. All right, we're going to take our first break of the afternoon. It is Wednesday, April the 12th of 2023. Come on back and get you guys ready for some more NBA play-ins. All that still to come for the next 2 hours. You guys are listening to The Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. 12:20 here on the Throw-In. The TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel is proud to be presented thanks to StreamYard Studios, proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can stream podcasts, videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews. Check out their free version today at StreamYard.com. You know, I got to say, it is such a beautiful day. It gets a little warmer. It gets up in the 80s, a little high 70s, maybe low 80s later on in today's weather forecast. It's supposed to be like that all weekend long. And if you guys got stuff to do, there's a couple of things that we can, just get out to a park. Get outside. That's what I'm going to say. So, but listen, the NBA playoffs are here. And I consider the play-ins as the playoffs in a bit. Because we see ourselves, because it's a do or die moment, right? There are two games taking place tonight that we'll talk about here in this segment that you have to win, and the losers go home, right? So it's all or nothing. And the winner of this game has to go win another game just to get into the playoffs. And I feel, this is kind of an interesting thing for NBA. This is not, this is kind of still very new. But it's the attempt to create more exciting games in the month of April and May before this playoff period. And I don't know. To be honest, I like the idea of just having an 8-team seed. And maybe what I would recommend doing, and I understand how they puncture this in, but I would recommend leaving it up to have the 8 seed available and have the 8 and 9 play in, maybe a 2 or 3 game series, right? For this first week. Instead, they have opportunities for 4 teams to enter in the 7th and 8th seed, which is kind of a bummer. And yesterday we saw the Los Angeles Lakers and the Atlanta Hawks win. Talk about the Atlanta Hawks here right now, because they won their game 116-105. All right, Trae Young for Atlanta goes for 35 plus minutes, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. For Miami, you think that they play the better game. Kyle Lowry, 30 plus minutes, 33 points, 4 rebounds. Jimmy Butler, 38 minutes, 21 points, 4 rebounds. And this is, I got to honestly try to remind myself that for a lot of, this is, you're going to play your heart out and just to get into the playoffs, right? So Atlanta, let's talk about Atlanta here for a moment, because Atlanta now advances to the 7th seed and they will be taking on Boston. Now, is there some sort of strategy behind this? Because if you think about this, all right, do you want to play the number one? You got to either play number 1 or number 2, both in the West and the East. So the question is who do you really want to face? And I say the East. When you got Boston, you got Milwaukee, I don't think you want to play either one of them, to be honest. But if you had to choose one, I guess you pick the 7th seed, right? You face Boston. And for Miami, in Atlanta, you have that option, right? You have the option of choosing, all right, maybe I won't play as aggressive this game, drop the Boston game to go face, the second game, play a little bit better. Hopefully well, the same question I asked for the Lakers in Minnesota. They want to Lakers won in overtime, 108-102. And this was LeBron James, Anthony Davis, putting up a combination of 54 points, 25 rebounds, and about 24 to 40 from the free throw line. Okay, a little over 50%. But these are guys that you expect to carry the team through and through, right? I mean, if you're the Lakers, let's talk about the Lakers for a minute. If you're the Lakers, you're expecting LeBron James, Anthony Davis out there each and every game. And then if you're Minnesota, you're like, all right, I drop to the Lakers. I have to win to go face Denver. Now, which one is more dangerous, Denver or Memphis? And I'm kind of up in the air. I just don't know too much about Denver. They are in this number one slot. And yes, I think they're playing, they've obviously earned that number one slot, but there is a strategy to it. Now, I'm not saying that Miami or Minnesota are tanking these games to go on and play the second round, and hopefully they would have to win, this second game on Friday night to get into the playoffs. But tonight, though, I think all of that's out on the table. I think if you want to survive, to live another day, you have to win. And I don't think that there is anything or way around it, to be honest. You have to win. So let's kind of just share with you what we have here for Atlanta and for Miami real quick. And this is all found on the NBA.com. Okay. Atlanta beats Miami 116-105. Hawks cruise past the Heat to grab the number 7 seed. We'll talk about the play-in tournament here in a bit. Okay. A couple key players for Atlanta. And as I was looking at this, like, okay, you got some, double digits for points. Trae Young, is the only guy for Atlanta that put up 20 plus points. And I just don't, here's the problem I have with this. I just don't think if you're going to lead into the postseason and you're going to be facing Boston, you're not going to survive with only Trae Young putting in 25 points. Second highest was DeJounte Murray of 18 points. And then you have Sadiq Bey, who put up 17 points. It's great that across the board, you got guys, almost everyone, putting up 20 plus points. And if you don't, like for example, Clint, he didn't put up 20. He only put up 4 points, but he gave you 21 rebounds. I'm accepted to that because there's no one else on the Hawks team that went, double digits or even under double digits that put up nearly 10 points. So I guess, listen, they made it in. Great. Congratulations to the Atlanta Hawks. And now you kind of get a regroup. But I think the conversation is, when you regroup, you got to, I think, find a way to say, all right, we're going to face the Boston Celtics. We know what they're capable of regular season and postseason. And I think there's going to have to be a lot of things that Atlanta Hawks fix if they want to surpass and live out beyond Boston in the first round of the playoffs. Because what I see here is not acceptable. I mean, the highest field goal, is 7 for 16, 43%. I mean, and you're going to get the ball. I mean, listen, you put the ball in Trae Young's hands for free goal. I mean, free throw attempt, 9 for 8. Okay, that's fine. But come on, I don't think it was the best game played. It's either that or it was too good of a defense. Miami Heat, on the other hand, we talked about Miami. Miami has two guys. You got Jimmy Butler, who played almost 40 minutes, only putting up 21 points. Not the greatest performance. Now, yet again, he's getting covered. I get that. 26 points by Tyler Herro. No double doubles. 33 points though by Kyle Lowry, and I'm like, I kind of feel like a better chance out of Miami. So Miami's going to wait to face the winner of Chicago or Toronto tonight. That will be playing at 7 p.m. And I want to jump back to the 11 because I want to jump on over to the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this was going to be a much bigger game, and it was a big game. Minnesota Timberwolves do not sleep on this team. 102-108, Lakers win and find a way to pull through in heading into now they got to go face the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think that's going to be a good matchup for the Lakers. My question is that we're gonna rely on LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I'll talk to you about that here in a second. So let's take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now they're gonna await the winners of Oklahoma City and New Orleans Pelicans. I will love to see Minnesota and Oklahoma City do battle Friday night. But we will wait, I guess, and see, right? What shocked me is that you had Kyle Anderson went for a double in yesterday's ball game. 12, well, not double, but 13 assists, 12 points. It was Karl Anthony Towns who played 41 minutes in overtime. This is overtime regulations. 41 minutes, 11 rebounds, 24 points. You know, I guess this is where I think I gotta say, you put up or you shut up, right? You know, I think there is a lot of. Now, I'm not no basketball player, right? I'm not no baseball player. I'm not no football player. I'm not no professional wrestling, and I understand that role. I understand my position, and I'm not trying to be one. Okay, and you know, I have played baseball in my childhood days. I played football. I've done collegiate wrestling, so I know a little bit about that. But one thing, you know, I hear all the time is that NBA players are soft, in a sense. They take a lot, and you know, little injuries like this and that, you know, they're out. But you go put up 40 plus minutes in a basketball game. I do feel, because this is not no typical basketball game, when you have a chance to survive the next night, right? And I know you don't want to go down that route, and in the game, especially in overtime, it was, you know, close to each other up until the very end. You want to tend to, all right, we want to eventually win. But now the effect is that you have five of your, you know, five guys, you're starting five here, all going 40 plus minutes in this game. How well do you think they're going to be ready for Friday night's game to whoever they face, either Oklahoma or New Orleans? So when we look at these, you know, it's a different aspect, because there's going to be a different strategy tonight, because, and this is where I kind of feel like tonight needs to be, should these, you know, one and done games should have played yesterday, because I feel like these are tonight's the night where you put these guys out for 40 minutes, you know, in the game, and be like, all right, you're playing 40 plus minutes because it's do or die. And if we die, we go home. You would have played the 7th and 8th seed today, knowing that, all right, if we don't win, we still have a second opportunity on Friday. So this is where I kind of just get, all right, what's going on? Well, that's the only thing that don't make sense. So the tables are set for tonight. Excuse me, that was coming out one way or the other. So the tables are set for tonight. We got Chicago and Toronto tonight at 7 p.m. on ESPN in Toronto, Ontario, in Scotiabank Arena. Broadcast is going to be on ESPN or ABC or ABC. Okay. You could also listen to the game tonight on the radio at ESPN NR, CHUM or WSCR. And the winner goes home. And the losers go home. The winner goes on to play Miami on Friday. And then right afterwards at 9:30 p.m. tonight, we will have the Western game going on between Oklahoma City Thunders and the New Orleans Pelicans. At the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. The game's broadcast on ESPN or ABC. I will also be on the radio tonight on ESPN and WRNO, KGLA FM, and WWLS. So those are the ways to tune into the game. Overall, by the time after this is all said and done, you guys, when we come back tomorrow, we will know the two games that will be played Friday night before the postseason. All right. So let's take a break. And when we come on back, we will talk about the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves. Game 2 of a 3-game series last night. We're looking for the rubber game series, avoiding the sweep. We'll tell you all about that coming up here next on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Turned 31 in a couple of weeks, second start of the season. Matt Olson walked 3 times last night. This one is hit well to right center. That baby is gone. solo jack. Matt Olson, 1-0 Atlanta.
Did you just see what that was off the bat?
A lot.
119 exit velocity.
Hammered.
Holy.
Jonathan India, first pitch. Through the left side, base hit.
India is aboard to start the third. Now Friedel. Friedel chops this over the head of Olson. India is going to chug into third, and Friedel is headed for second. Slides in with a double. And the Reds are in business. Nobody out. 4 straight balls, and they are loaded.
Early this year, Stevenson, 4 for 13. Oh, way in. That got Stevenson. That's going to mean a Reds run. Everyone moves up, and RBI the hard way to tie the game at 1.
And Kyle Wright got him again. Second time he struck out Myers. That's a big first out here in the third.
Got him.
And there you go. Painting the black on the inside part of the plate. Back-to-back strikeouts.
Now you got a chance to get out of this thing with only 1 run.
Spencer Steer singled last inning. To the right side. Albies dives. Cannot get there. The ball to the plate, and the ball is sprung free. Fairly safe, and after all of that, the Reds have a 3-1 lead. Downstairs, another walk, and they are reloaded. Misses. 4th walk, and this one produces another run. Cincinnati has put up 4 here at the top of the third.
1 on, 1 out for Ozzie. At this point, he's been the only strikeout victim for Luis Cessa.
Albies to right field. Albies has left the building, and we are tied. Career homer number 100 for Ozzie Albies.
Down at the knees where he can get extension, puts it in the chop house.
And the inning continues for Sam Hilliard, who doubled and scored in the third. Left center. That's going to plug the gap. All the way to the wall. The Reds are going to have the lead. Ozuna's in 5-4. How about Sam Hilliard, Jim? 2 doubles and an RBI. He has bounced out to short both times tonight. Sitting on 5 runs batted in this season. That number is going to go up. He has 6 runs driven in this year. RBI single, Orlando Arcia. The Braves are up 2. Now, Nick Anderson comes on. He threw 18 pitches last night. So this will be his 5th appearance of the season. That should do it. Riley says, I'll take it, and the ball game is over. Braves hang on and win it.
Alrighty. Well, it seems to me that there are some promising things that we are coming across in with the Reds, and it's just not getting over that hump, unfortunately. And they fall short again to the Braves, 7-6, and they fall to 4-6. Now, I'm not going to sit here and throw my hands up and say, all right, it's time to hit the panic button. These Reds are just terrible. They're showing some really promising things. I mean, Jonathan India had a 3-for-5 day back on Monday. Jose Barrera went 1 for 3 with a walk and a home run. Spencer Steer went 3 for 4 yesterday's loss with 2 RBIs. Jake Fraley went 2 for 2 with the run batted in and 2 walks. This offensive team for the Reds, they're putting up runs. It's just, what is the big question coming out of Cincinnati? Why are they struggling so early on? I mean, we saw Graham Ashcraft Monday go 6 innings. Luis Cessa only went 3 2/3. Okay, so giving up 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, 2 errors. He lost, and he moves his record to 0-1. So this is where I think the Reds need to take the approach, because it's the Reds offense and the Reds defense are producing. It's the pitching. And I wouldn't necessarily go as far as saying it's the Reds rotation so much for than it's the Reds bullpen, right? And we knew coming into the game into the season a couple weeks ago that with guys like Lucas Sim and TJ Antone starting the season off on the IL, that we're going to have to expect more out of the rotation to prevent a lackluster bullpen, right? Excuse me. Sneezing all over. I see. It's the springtime. It's the allergies. I got the windows open, the fans on. It's nice outside. It's the allergies. Trust me. Kind of sneeze. So I apologize. But it's the bullpen that we're talking about, right? One of the so how do we fix that? How do we fix the bullpen? Well, one, you could go out there and sign a couple of relievers that I don't know are honestly ready for the bullpen. And the relievers right now that are out there and maybe available free agents, wise, may not benefit the organization right now in the bullpen that we need help on. Well, the second thing is that you can always ask your pitchers to, rotation to pitch better. Well, I think there's a lot being said in that, because when you get guys like Graham Ashcraft and you get guys like Nick Lodolo and even, Connor Overton and Hunter Green, they're giving you 6-7 innings, solid outings, your bullpen's going to have to finish the game. And that's one of the biggest problems, is finishing the game. Back-to-back nights, we didn't really quite finish the game after having a couple of leads. So it goes back around to, all right, so how do we fix the bullpen? And if you're not going to go sign free agencies, because I feel like that's against the Castellanos' religious sack beliefs, then you're not going to go, and then you're only going to get so much out of the starting rotation, because you don't want to workhorse them early on in the season. And then what we're looking at is a possibility, and I heard this on Locked On Reds the other day, that especially before heading into this long road, the trip, that is to move these pieces around. Okay? And when I say move these pieces around, I'm talking about, they presented the idea, which I completely agree with, in moving guys like, so it's Hunter Green. Right now it's Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft, Connor Overton, Luis Sessa. Okay? And I was like, well, how come we can't see it be Hunter Green, Connor Overton, Nick Lodolo, Luis Sessa, and Graham Ashcraft, where you're like, all right, every other day I know that I'm going to get a good starter that doesn't have to overwork and load my bullpen. I could get Green, Lodolo, and Ashcraft 1, 3, and 5, and they're going to give me a solid 6-7 innings each and every outing, that we wouldn't have this problem. The other, and then on the 2s and 4 days, all right, it gives a workload off the bullpen, because they know they're going to work the second and the fourth day, giving hopefully a rest during 1, 3, and 5. So that was a option out. And I'm a bit surprised that the Reds haven't thought of that. And right now, I feel that two things are happening. Because the run support there is offensively, and I don't have a problem with the Reds' offense. Matter of fact, I think it's exciting. And one of the reasons you guys should go out to the ball game, especially this weekend, other than it being a nice weather, other than Saturday, you get the replica of Great American Ballpark celebrating 20 years. It's about getting a chance to see the offensive positions go to work at their finest. The thing that I have, and how we can question or how we can improve, is that you can't expect our top 3 pitchers, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and Graham Ashcraft, to come out each and every outing and give you 7 flawless shutout innings. That is utterly, I think, impossible. We're not at that. Even Max Scherzer doesn't have that type of power to offer. Right? yes, they're going to have fantastic years, but it's not in every outing. What we do hope to see, though, is if we spread them out, right, we can back off on the workload that we expect the top 3 guys to have, and then we can work on our bullpen. Something has to give in our bullpen. I think that's as simple as that's going to get. Our bullpen is going to have to get better. And I get nervous because if our bullpen doesn't get better and prevent, if we go get a 4-3 lead into the 8th and 9th inning, we don't have any guys that we were confident enough to throw out there. And that's my problem. And that's one thing that I hope over the next month, because it's going to get very frustrating. And it's already we could already see the frustration that this is a potentially good ball club. But if our bullpen can't help us out, then what do we do? You can't go throw Derek Law. We've seen it over so far this past weekend. We cannot go throw Derek Law out there each and every outing, expecting him to give us, the outings of a lifetime. We can't expect Alexis Diaz to go out there and give us an outing of a lifetime. We got to mix it in with the Buck Farmers, and the other guys. And we're not the only ball club that's having this problem. I mean, we also see the issue with the San Diego Padres, for example, how they're having bullpen problems because their workload on the bullpen's too heavy. And they only got 1 or 2 guys that they trust going out there, but to go out there every 5 days, to go out there each and every day for 5 consecutive days and putting on the same performance, it's quite, they just don't condition themselves like that. All right, so the Cincinnati Reds wrap up a 3-game series tonight. First pitch, 7:20. The 4-6 Reds take on the 8-4 Braves. And we did expect or anticipate a tough road trip between the Phillies and the Braves over 6 games. And I get that. The goal today is for one, avoid a sweep. I do not want to have a single series this year where there is a sweep in place. And especially in the month of April, if we can avoid our ball club, getting a sweep, being swept by a team, then I think that is still a bonus. The next thing is not just about avoiding a sweep and picking up a victory today, but it's getting ready for a 4-game series. And for the next, I would say 7 days, because the next 7 days, we have to get worried about between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Tampa Bay Rays. And right now, I don't want to look too far ahead into Tampa Bay, but 11-game winning streak to begin the season is something a little unheard of, and we don't see that quite often in baseball, nonetheless in any other sport. So 11-game winning streak to kick off the season, and we're expecting to face them next week. What does that mean? Well, that means we have to take care of business today against the Braves, come back home on a positive note. And if the Reds could pick up a victory today, yes, there will be a positive note heading into this 4-game series against the Phillies, which I believe we would like to have some sort of either tied series or take 3 of 1 in payback from what happened at Citizens Bank Ballpark last weekend. But I would say we're almost at the halfway mark. We got to take care of business tonight and let's come home on a positive note. We will have Hunter Green out there for the Reds, who is sitting at a 5.63 ERA, still trying to climb back from his opening day start, where it wasn't that great, spectacular. We'll also get right-handed. We're going to be facing right-handers pitcher Spencer Steer, who comes into today's ballgame 1-0. He's also pitching a 2.45 ERA, which it's like, all right, we got our work cut out. I mean, it's Atlanta. It's Truist Park. Spencer Steer. I mean, he's nothing. I wouldn't claim that, listen, Atlanta is this postseason bound team, and this is the reason why. So, all right, hour number 1 is complete. Hour number 2, I want to talk a little bit about the Joe Nuxhall Classic, as 2 games played at the UC Cincinnati Baseball Stadium last night. Let you guys know what they have looking ahead. I also want to talk about a little bit about what is concerning about the Cincinnati Reds moving forward offensively. Yes, although I said that the Reds look in a tremendous amount of shape, what are adjustments do we need to still make? Because just as much as we are throwing, we're hitting 3 for 4s, we're hitting bombs, and we're getting those leads, after a while, you're not really gaining much of anything. So we're excited to see that Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds wrap up a 3-game series tonight at Truist Park. So definitely let's tune into that, and let's get underway with hour number 2. When we come back, we're also talking about some wrestling conversations, especially into the, I guess I'll say, especially into the Bloodline story after WrestleMania. I'm kind of lost. So we'll get all that information coming up here. Hour number 2. You guys are listening to The Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights
know the next morning when the sun goes up, it might be the last day of you and me. You're lying next to me with heavy eyes, with a heavy heart. I know what I've done, and I'm too afraid to let it go. If I could, I would turn back time if I could.
Alrighty, hour number 2 here on the program. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit those notifications. Don't miss a single episode of the Throw-In or any of the content that we provide down the road. I want to also advertise and promote that later on today at 3:30. We will be back live for a coverage of the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Angels. Game 3 of a 3-game series wraps up today. Live coverage begins at 3:30 for a pregame show. Also want to give a big shout out. Hour number 2 is given thanks to Spreaker from iHeartRadio. Spreaker provides a all audio platform service for your podcasting needs. See the analytic, upload podcasts, see the analytics, and be able to monetize for a profitable experience. For more information, check out Spreaker.com. All right, so the Joe Nuxle Classic series begins in Cincinnati yesterday for 2 teams, for 4 teams. It was a doubleheader ball game. If you guys missed, I think you guys missed out on a pretty nice deal. It was a buy one, get one free. First ticket for the price of 2. Now, did the show. First game started at 2 between Wright State and Xavier, who picked up their 11th straight victory as they beat Wright State 6-2. Final score, moving them to 21-12 and 3-0 in conference. Home games 6-2, away games 14-10, and neutral sites are 1-0. Luke Hawkins, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs allowed, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He picks up his victory, going 4-1 on the season as Jack Hausinger, 2 for 5, 1 run, 1 strikeout, 1 home run to pick up a victory over Wright State. Their next contest begins Friday at home against the Connecticut Huskies at Hayden Field in Cincinnati. They haven't had a lot of home games, so intrigued to tune into this one. TV coverage will be on Flow Sports. And then we got treated to a little bit of 10 innings of baseball between Cincinnati Bearcats and Miami, Ohio, where this was a close game. Right? It was final in 10 innings. Right? And it was an early 1-0 lead that Ryan Nicholson gave the Bearcats in the first inning. And, you know, talking about the game, we actually went, me and the wife went out to the game, last minute decision, but we went out to the game last night, and it was a nice, fun night. It was nice outside, very breezy, so it wasn't like as cold as we went with the first time, but the excitement was Cincinnati. Tommy Bobo was back on the mound, and there's just something that I like the kid. He seems like it clicks when he's out there, to be honest. He goes 5 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. Max Bergman, 1 inning. He was a winning pitcher as he went 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk. It was 4-1. Okay. It was Tommy O'Connor hit a 3-run bomb to advance the Bearcats to a 4-1 lead. 4-1 lead after the game was tied. And then it comes down to the 9th inning, and I was most certain. I was like, all right, we're going to pick up the victory, come home before 9. And then the Miami Ohio finds a way to crawl on back, tie the ball game in the 9th inning, and now we're in extra innings. So we go to the 10th, and then literally the crowd was silent, dead silent, after they took the lead. I mean, it was just a terrible sight. As a matter of fact, it was a 3-run home run, I believe, from in the 9th inning that just took the silent away also. And we're like, oh no, here we go, we're gonna lose. And then one thing after the other, the wife's outside the stadium trying to look for a ball that was hit outside the stadium. And next you know, Cameron Goudry, who went 3 for 5, hit a 3-run blast to straightaway center left field, and a game-winning home run to give the Bearcats a victory, 7-5. And I was like, "Oh, great, lovely." And I was like, "What a bummer." So it was exciting. It was fun. Joe Nuxel classic. It was just fun to get out to another ball game, and it's not the Reds game that we will eventually to get out to at some point this year, but it's a ball game nonetheless. The Bearcats will head on the road this weekend from Friday to Sunday to play the ECU Pirates in Greenville, North Carolina. So they're going to go jump on the road and take care of some business against ECU, which I'm excited to tune in and pay attention to. So what's going on with our pitching or with our offense for the Cincinnati Reds? Okay, so this is where I point out. It's nothing to be concerning about. I will tell you that utmost. Okay? There is nothing that we should be concerning about. But what I will say is that the first 10 games, we've seen a lot of great things. And we're expected to see a lot more great things coming out of coming ahead, weeks to come and the season to come for the Cincinnati Reds. Although they're losing, I mean, Jonathan India, Spencer Steer, this looks like an offensive ball club. And we talked to you at the bottom of the hour, number one, about the thing that they need to strengthen the most, and that is arguably the bullpen, right? Well, we need to start making adjustments for the future. Now, I don't know the status of if and when Joey Votto comes back. I don't know the status of if and when Nick Senzel's back, and players right now that's on the ball club, on the 25 or 26 man roster, are making their case to remain on the roster. Will Benson starting to kick in? TJ Friedel, who looks promising out there in center field. So honestly, I like to move and stick with this is like the Reds are moving forward. And how the Reds need to be moving forward is more conservatively. Tyler Stephen on this one, coming from David Bell, the manager, will be rested as a DH for a while. He played the first 9 games. The first 9 games, he's played 6 of those 9 behind the plate. And the ultimate strategy is, like we began to talk about at the beginning of the season, is about seeing Stevenson lurk away from the catching and play more first base and play more designated hitter. And this is where it needs to start kicking in, because the fear is that there's no problem with Tyler Stevenson. He's not hurt. He's not banged up. Nothing of that sort. But we need him to stay healthy, especially if we're not picking up victories. what does it do good to throw him behind the plate, catch these ball games, and go out there and hit 3 to 4 times and put in runs and be batting cleanup spot if we're not winning the games? The offense, and this is going back to the offense precision here, right? This is what we're talking about. This is why are we putting these players in position and they're doing their jobs to go out there and win when it's not the offensive error that reason why we're not winning. It's the bullpen or the pitching. Why do we have Hunter Green go out there and pitch 109 pitches so that he can lose a ball game? Tyler Stevenson is, we knew from the beginning that we're not seeing Tyler Stevenson behind the plate each and every game. Matter of fact, I said, listen, pick Stevenson to catch one pitcher. I'd say Hunter Green or even Nick Lodolo. Don't matter. Or even pick him up against a guy like Connor Overton where he can use Tyler Stevenson's knowledge, expertise, and game calling skills, and then have the rest of the games be catch between Luke Molly and Kurt Casale, right? Well, David Bell says that, all right, we're going to start transitioning Tyler Stevenson into the designated hitter role and into maybe the first baseman role. I don't know about you, but after the season is done with, right? Or after, I think Joey Votto is going to be retiring. No? I mean, I don't see him playing another year. At least it wouldn't be financially, stable to put Joey Votto back at first base for another year, especially when we have a guy like Christian Encarnacion Strand or even Tyler Stevenson looking to take that position. So I think this is the first authentic, realistic move that the Reds could potentially be facing, and we're starting to see that now, today. And I think that's going to help the organization. It's going to hopefully help Tyler Stevenson. The key thing is that he is a huge monster at bat coming into each and every game. And he needs to be starting in that lineup about at least 140 to 150 games this year. What does that mean for Tyler Stevenson? That means they have to be creative and find ways to keep him healthy and to keep him out there on the field. And a lot of time, and with that DA spot, which definitely helps, a lot of, the other 15 organizations in National League, this is the way to do so. We don't even also have ourselves a legitimate everyday designated hitter batter, which is fine by me, but I don't want to throw a designated hitter spot. For me, I use him as a power hitting guy, right? Some guy who could pop the bat, get maybe a home run or two, and score guys in from bases. When I'm looking at the DH role, especially for Cincinnati, I'm not looking at a Kevin Newman. I'm not looking at a, Will Benson, or even Jonathan India for that matter. I'm looking at Joey Votto. I'm looking at Will Myers or Kurt Casale or Tyler Stevenson, even a Jake Fraley, who we know can be fit in the slot of 3, 4, 5, possibly even 6, and we can be put in a position where they could drive in runs. Right? It's not about getting the long balls are great. And we think a few players like TJ Friedel, Jake Fraley, Spencer Steer, as long as they're on the main roster throughout the course of the season, they're going to almost give you about maybe 15, 20 home runs each. And I love to see that. And I love to see Tyler in that mix also. So, some people are going to hear the news, David Bell's resting Tyler Stevenson as a DH and think, oh, here we go again. He's injured. That's not the case. He is utilizing him in a different way to keep his bats in the lineup. plus his time. I mean, what's the purpose of having 3 catchers to begin the season when you're not going to use all 3 to his full advantage? I mean, Luke Malley has only had 1 start, and Kurt Caselli has only had 2. And from my understanding, according to David Bell, Kurt Caselli will get another start today. And there's also just some scary incidents in this first couple of weeks of the season that makes you worried about catching positions. I mean, the collision that happened over the weekend between the White Sox and the Pirates, where Fernando Cruz ended up fracturing his ankle. That's a huge at-bat out of the lineup for the Pirates, especially as needed. So we got to pick up a victory today and head back home with some sort of confidence as we get ready to take on the Phillies. Let's take a break. When we come on back here, I'm going to transition into some wrestling conversation. The problem that I have is after WrestleMania, let me ask you this. Did Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens accomplish what they originally set out to accomplish? And it was not initially for those tag team titles. And is their feud with the Bloodline still as interesting after WrestleMania? Let's talk about that conversation coming up next. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Going on, everyone? Justin here from the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to you, the listeners. That's right. Without you guys, none of this is possible. I would also like to take the time and invite you out to our merchandise page, thanks to T Public. Our merchandise page is where you can find all of our brandings from the Throw-In, which is currently active weekly, to the TNC Sports Talk official brands, to either the prior shows that was part of the TNC Sports Talk Foundation. Now, within all the brandings, you can select T-shirts in both men and female sizes, apparel such as hoodies, kids onesies, kids T-shirts, phone cases, notebooks, coffee mugs. They have a vast majority. This is why I love T Public. And right now, if you spend $80 or more, you get free shipping. And so we want to invite you out to our merchandise page by heading on over to tpublic.com/user/TNC-sports-talk, or even using the QR code up in the right-hand corner. We want to thank you guys again, the listeners, for supporting us, and we hope to see you guys out wearing our merchandise. All right, 121 here on the program. Welcome on back here to the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel and to the Throw, and taking you guys up until 2 this afternoon. And once again, I want to go ahead and just congratulate Steve Barber over at the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast for celebrating his 30th anniversary after a 20-year fulfillment of the Air Force service, as we talked about at the beginning of the program. So wherever he's at, if he's listening to this program, just wish him the best of luck and congratulate him. Thank him for his service. All right. So before we get into wrestling conversation, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that's been going on. As you guys are aware, I've been working with a lot with Enlighten Studios as of late. And listen, it's a great community, great people. They really treat you like family. And if you guys are in the Cincinnati area, we would like you to, if you have time to help us out, like you guys to volunteer at the upcoming 2023 Summer Cincinnati Festivals. There are 3 going on in the month of June and July. The first one being the Italian Festival from the 8th to the 11th. From the 23rd to the 25th is the Taco Festival. And then July 14th through the 16th is the Celtic Festival. And if you've never been to one of these festivals, they're down there on the levee, on the riverbank of Ohio, and you get a lot of live music, great foods and drinks. You get to keep your tips if you volunteer, and it's a great way to get out and give back to the community of the great city of Cincinnati. And if you guys are interested, head on over to enlightenstudios.cincy@gmail.com. That is enlightenstudios.cincy@gmail.com. I don't have any pop-ups. I'm currently working on a couple of them. So once I have them, finished, I'll put them up here for people to email and volunteer. Time slots are running by fast. So recommend you putting in your time slots and give back to the great community of Cincinnati. All right, so this is I got a quick bone to pick. So I want to know the thoughts right now of how the storyline is progressing between Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the Bloodline, and also now recently rejoined Matt Riddle. This was a story that was told for the last 9 months, 10 months, okay, almost a year, with Sami Zayn. How he became, finally got accepted with the Bloodline and then turned against the Bloodline, which led into a incredible WrestleMania match, right? Okay. This involved Kevin Owens, and January, Sami Zayn has been all about getting rid of the Bloodline, thinking that it's bad for business, that everyone that's involved is not healthy. And one of the ways they thought they were able to get rid of the Bloodline is by going out there and winning and capturing the WWE Undisputed Championships, WWE Tag Team Championships, to say, right? So, teams up with Kevin Owens and captures the gold. Well, the question is the Bloodline gone? Because the way that I saw back on Monday night, they seem to be just as strong with or without those titles. And although there is crack in the armor of this impenetrable bloodline fraction, they don't seem to be showing it right now after WrestleMania. They just lost the tag team titles. You think they would be more lost, confused, torn? You know, I haven't really heard much from Roman Reigns in response to it. And so let me ask you this. Did Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens accomplish what they set out to originally do, and that was to put an end to the bloodline? When Monday night we saw the bloodline annihilate Kevin Owens to the point where Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle had to come out and, you know, once again, it just shows that Kevin Owens cannot handle things on his own. As a matter of fact, I mean, I still think, although Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won those tag titles, right? I still think the bloodline are still much in control. Nothing's really changed with the bloodline since losing those titles. So did Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens accomplish what they set out to accomplish? I think that's the bottom line, the bottom question. And it makes me wonder what the story point is for the future, because I kind of feel like we hit a brick in the road. My original thought was you send Cody Rhodes to team up with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to face the bloodline, the Usos and Solo Sikoa. That was my thought at Backlash. Right now we're nowhere near that. Matter of fact, we see the return of Matt Riddle, which let me put that to a stop right there. What in the world does Matt Riddle have involving himself with the bloodline or with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? And let me put it to you this way. Even if he did make sense, and maybe just a tiny ounce, he could make sense into this storyline. But Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are up here. The bloodline's up here. Matt Riddle's all the way down. And Matt Riddle has kind of left a bad taste in my mouth since he has been away from the company. And this is one of the images that you see when someone is away from the company for an extended period of time. You lose heat, you lose momentum, you lose buildup to that person. You lose credibility. Matt Riddle is not a stand up, get off your chair, and tune in. Okay, and if you're thinking that you're going to pair Riddle up with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to face the bloodline at Backlash, if I'm watching that match, and that's a big if, by the way, if I'm watching that match, it's not because of Matt Riddle. For me, I feel like he's that guy who is out of place. If you threw a Randy Orton in that conversation, then great. I'm all in, right? If you had Kevin Owens like I thought you originally planned or were planning for, and maybe this is that Vince McMahon creative team at its finest, right? I mean, then, okay. I just don't see any reason or point that Matt Riddle needs to get involved. And if anyone else needs to get involved besides Cody, Sami, and Kevin, it's just not Matt Riddle for me. Please tell me what you see out of Matt Riddle that elevates himself to the point where he can make a impactful difference in the outcome of this match. what credibility does he have that he can do so? And I think it goes back around to the conversation of what are the WWE plans moving forward between the Bloodline, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens? Because I don't believe that the story is done. Just like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, the story isn't over with. But we were so built up from Survivor Series last year up until WrestleMania, this story of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn coming together, turning against the Bloodline and taking so-called, ending the Bloodline. And we didn't see the Bloodline vanish, right? Just because they lost the tag team titles, we didn't see them vanish. And we actually see them stronger than ever. So what is the picture moving forward? How long does this movement go for? Obviously I see another title match down the road. They're probably waiting. You probably see a 6-man tag match at Backlash, and then you see a tag team titles in Saudi Arabia or in London for that matter. But right now, I'm kind of lost in the direction that they're going into. And I feel like just because the Bloodline lost titles, they didn't lose anything. So what is the direction? Because as we head to the WWE draft that Triple H said back on Friday, just like Roman Reigns, these titles have to be decided about. And I feel that these titles need to be re-cleared. And one of the downfalls is that I think if you separate these titles, or if you separate these titles at the hands of Sami and Kevin, what you've done, and how long should this title reign run between Sami and Kevin? Because I feel like in this case, you're just taking away everything that they just got done fighting for, right? They made this a huge deal for the last 4 months, and you're willing to sweep it underneath their feet and take it away from them, which I don't think is the appropriate approach to this. So, what does that lead us? If we are to see the 6-man tag match at Backlash, so be it. But I don't see much other than another title defense in the UK or even in Saudi Arabia, right? Potentially. I don't necessarily see a future plan for these 4 guys down to SummerSlam. And even if that's the case, I don't think that the storyline leading up to it is going to be as intense as we've been thrilled to see over the last 8 months. Moving forward. And if they don't separate these titles come WWE draft, whenever that comes, I don't know the details of it, but whenever that comes, if we don't see that separation of the draft, then I think it takes a big blow to the tag team division. But then if we do see a separation, it takes a big blow out of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So, in this point, it's a lose-lose situation, right? That's show me any other outcome that potentially works, that you can keep Sami and Kevin at the top of the spotlight. Right now they're one of the few teams that are carrying this tag team division, and if this is what that future holds, how would you guys accept of it? Because I feel like you take a lot away from these two men who have clawed and really did everything they could to put over this story. I mean, at one moment we had a sold out arena in Canada who were ready to blow the roof off the place if Sami didn't beat Roman Reigns. They believed in the process. They allowed the process to run itself, and still they had issues. All right, let's take our last break of the day. I want to come back. What is the future for Roman Reigns? Who's next? If it's not Cody Rhodes, who's next? And how many more people are to be next? And who is the one dethroning Roman Reigns? I know we talked a little bit about that yesterday. I want to bring that back and talk more today. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Looking back at the good times before it all went down. Climbed right up on the hillside, a different view of my life. You left me running on and on, but I don't care, would you let me in? You said goodbye like everything's gone, everything that we could have been. But I know you're my liability. Yeah, I know you're my You say that you're sorry. We turn the page and make up. A broken trust got you haunted. The doubting you was enough to leave me chasing you on and on. But I don't care, I will let you in. You said goodbye like everything's gone, everything that we could have been. But I know you are my liability. Yeah, I know you are my liability. Oh, what a hopeless case we could be. Yeah. Oh, what a hopeless place that we're in. But I'm your liability. I know you are my liability. Yeah, I know you are my liability. Oh, what a hopeless case we could be. Yeah. Oh, what a hopeless place that we're in. But I'm your liability.
Welcome on back here to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Don't forget to tune us in at 3:30 this afternoon for the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Angels at Anaheim for some Wednesday afternoon baseball given to you here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Excited to be calling the game. I know it's been a while, but I also want to give this shout out here. We have a merchandise page. I know that's weird, but if you guys like the product, you guys like what we do, it's summertime. Get your bottles, get your notebooks, get your t-shirts, your tank tops. We got tank tops, right? I mean, we got a little bit of everything. Here's the QR code. Scan the QR code on your screen and check us out through TeePublic. Thanks to TeePublic, we have a merchandise page. Last but not least, Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. All right, bottom half of the hour, bottom half of the program, and we want to we'll be back again tomorrow. We'll be back again Friday. Talk about the NBA playoffs that's coming your way. Get you guys ready for the Philadelphia Phillies coming into town. And we got to hope, listen, like I mentioned earlier, win tonight, avoid a sweep, come back home. First road series of the season, you're 2-4. I take that as a decent series, to be honest, especially two tough teams like the Phillies and like the Braves. Come back home and let's take care of business against the Phillies. Let's give them what they gave us last weekend. But we do that in a 4-game series beginning tomorrow night at Great American Ballpark. It's going to be lovely. Get out there both Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is firework night. They bring it back every Friday, home game. Stay tuned after the game because there's fireworks. Lovely, fun, incredible stuff going on. Saturday, they're giving away a stadium replica of Great American Ballpark celebrating 20 years. I don't think I'll be going to the game. Talk to the wife. We were going to go to the game, but listen, we want to have more opportunities. I want to head out to game 1 of the Kelly Cup playoffs in Cincinnati with the Cyclones and Comets. I also want to check out next week Bearcats, Indiana at UC Baseball. So going to give up Saturday's first giveaway that I wanted to attend to, but there's going to be other opportunities. Absolutely. So of getting bobbleheads, a couple years ago, went out to a handful of games, got a couple bobbleheads. I think I got a Mike Moustakas and a Shogo Akiyama. I think we have like a Sony Gray bobblehead doll. I want to get a Jonathan India one, a Joey Votto one before it's too late. I would love for some reason, it is interesting because my uncle was the one who got into bobbleheads. So I was like, let's get into bobbleheads too, just a couple years ago. And I'm always calling like my brother and my dad is like, if you're going out to a Padres game this year, get me a bobblehead doll. I want a bobblehead doll. That's what I'm excited about. So a lot of stuff still going on. We're just getting underway for the week, halfway through the week. And we'll get you guys all ready for the weekend coming up here in a couple of days. So let's talk to you guys about the main topic. What is the plans for Roman Reigns? What plans do you see probable for Roman Reigns in the future? Because we know that WWE has been on the shoulders of Roman Reigns for the past 3 years, which for me has been unheard of. And the last time that I saw anyone carry the WWE's on their shoulders was John Cena. And that's been and he carried WWE on his shoulders for almost a decade. Fair enough? So it's not unheard of. It's just been several years since we've seen this. And maybe Roman Reigns had pictured this in for himself, and with his historic family background, that he kind of got put into this place. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't belong at the top of the food chain, because he's just as good as everyone. But my thing is, moving forward, is trying to figure out who's next for him. He's beaten everyone in the locker room. He's beaten from celebrities to guys like Matt Riddle, who just didn't belong. He beaten Logan Paul. I mean, so who's next? He's beaten Cody Rhodes. He's beaten Seth Rollins. He's beaten Drew McIntyre. Who's next on that list? A year ago, I was talking about, hey, let's talk about, Braun Breaker coming up. Now, I think that right now, Braun Breaker is settling in. And I feel like this is not the time or place for Braun Breaker to come up and dethrone Roman Reigns. And, first of all, Roman Reigns is not being dethroned until at least SummerSlam. He's going to surpass the 1,000-day marker, which is a historic event. And you feel like, all right, if he surpasses 1,000 days, he might as well just keep on going. Why not? This is an era that we're seeing from Roman Reigns, from the Usos, from the Bloodline. And to hear that there's another one potentially making their way in, that we don't necessarily have that platform of why would this end? Triple H said this great night 2 WrestleMania in the after talk, that storylines are not meant to end. They're meant to grow and continue. But just like the Usos, who do they have to face? Who do they have to go through next? What's next for Roman Reigns? There is Roman Reigns has beaten Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns has beaten Goldberg. Who? I don't know. Gunther? Does Gunther earn an opportunity to face Roman Reigns for that undisputed WWE Unified Championship? Universal Championship, sorry. I don't know. I think there's one person that comes to my mind, and I don't know if he's physically applicable to be challenging Roman Reigns right now. Randy Orton, AJ Styles, maybe just as opponents. And I'm thinking of Randy Orton and AJ Styles, and I don't see them beating Roman Reigns, but they're opponents right now for this time that makes sense because everyone else in that locker room is already done. I wouldn't throw you an Austin Theory. I wouldn't throw you out maybe Finn Balor. But Judgment Day is supposed to be on that rise. Judgment Day is supposed to be grinding and clawing their way to the top. With losses at Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania against Edge and a loss against Roman Reigns will not help that. So then, what's next? Right now I still think that Cody Rhodes is the favorite in the WWE as someone who could potentially dethrone Roman Reigns. It's either Cody Rhodes or there is Dwayne Johnson. But I feel like if we're going to see Dwayne Johnson come back and dethrone Roman, then we would have solved that already. And that would have been a Hollywood moment. Not in Philadelphia. It would have been Hollywood in LA, in my opinion. I don't think The Rock was ever raised in Philadelphia, lived in Philadelphia. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think he was ever in Philadelphia, possibly. I don't remember. But I guess it leads to the question, why we wait for next year? Every year that we bypass these two matches, and this is a dream match, I think everyone will be on board and wanting to watch. But this is just a dream match. And I feel like if we ever gonna see it, we got to see it sooner or later, because these two men are not getting younger by the second. And although Dwayne Johnson is always still in physical shape, he shows, one small thing and that could ruin everything. All right, so Dwayne Johnson, Cody Rhodes are two guys on my list. The question is what's next, right? Who's in between? Unless there's someone from the outside that right now I don't think of defeating or dethroning. If there was a Jay White coming to WWE, there's just nothing that intolerable seeing to dethrone Roman Reigns. So we're running. That's, I think, maybe ultimately that's one of the problems. No, we're running out of opponents to dethrone Roman Reigns. I mean, there's really no one else after Cody Rhodes, which I think we will see at SummerSlam. And I think it ties back around. The only reason why I see Cody Rhodes dethroning Roman Reigns is because this is a storyline that makes sense. It makes sense to what the Bloodline's doing. It makes sense to what the reason why Cody Rhodes is so desired, not just to become champion, but he also has to beat Roman Reigns, right? He has to beat the guy that everyone proclaimed, even his father, Dusty, proclaimed was going to be the best of the best. Right? That's the reason why Cody Rhodes has to beat Roman Reigns, is because Cody Rhodes is, compared to Roman Reigns, is underneath him by his own father. And the fact that you could tie that relationship underneath after almost a decade of being gone, I think is so remarkable. This is a match that we will see down the road. We haven't touched the iceberg of what this potential rivalry can be. The only reason we didn't see Cody Rhodes win this title at the beginning at WrestleMania is because it wasn't time. You can't take the title off of Roman Reigns based off of a 3-month feud, off of a feud that was because of Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble at number 30. Now, if he came in at number 1 and he outlasted 30 other men, yes. But it wasn't like he made an announcement. He made an announcement. It wasn't like he was like, all right, beginning of the year, I'm going to enter number 1. I'm going to earn my way to this title, and I'm going to go beat Roman Reigns. Comes at number 30, where the entire Royal Rumble match has already come and gone. And then he goes on to face Roman Reigns. Not enough time, not enough build-up, especially for a title reign such as Roman's, who is about to hit 1,000 days. All right, 1,000-day title reign. So now Cody has to go back, and he's going to have to go through guys like Brock, guys like Drew, Sheamus, Matt Riddle, maybe. And then he's going to have to revisit the Bloodline before he can consider himself worthy enough to be to get a title opportunity. And I think then and only then, that is when Cody Rhodes will dethrone Roman Reigns. And I feel right now that's the only picture. And what's going to end up happening is while Roman Reigns waits for Cody, and that's what's happening. He's waiting. He may be waiting and having to face a couple other opponents like Randy, and I would like to see that if he's healthy enough. But until that, Cody Rhodes is going to, so there's a fork in the road. Roman Reigns is going off to the sunset here to relax and take a long trip. And then Cody Rhodes is clawing his way to get back. And they're going to beat once again. But that's it. I think that officially, we can honestly say that the number of opponents that Roman Reigns has, that not only can put him to the test, the ultimate test, right? But that can also give a fight, and it's also going to give the fans what they want and get behind that athlete and actually beating him. It's either Cody or Dwayne. Two guys remaining. So you wonder what honestly is next for Roman. You wonder what's next. There's not much. All right. Program is over with. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you guys are on YouTube. Be sure to like and share on Facebook and Twitter. We'll be back again tomorrow. Like I said, we will be calling the Nationals and Angels games this afternoon. Pre-game show starts at 3:30 p.m. So if you guys want to tune into that game, recommend and highly encourage you guys to. And thank you guys for tuning in. Without you, none of this is possible. With all the crowd and all the fans. Until tomorrow, NBA basketball tonight. 2 games ahead. Talk about that tomorrow and much more still to come. Thank you guys for tuning into The Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.